let me in. You don't gotta like me, but the message ill. This is real. Never make investments based on how you feel. Pick a field, but you cannot quit it till you get a deal. Need a will, otherwise you'll waste your time just spinning wheels.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into October 1st, 2019. And October is one of the most volatile times for the stock market. Now, to give clarification on this, it's volatile, meaning up and down. If you even look at the Stock Traders Almanac, I even saw another article on this today. October is an interesting month where usually on average it goes up about 1% over the last 50 years. However, the fashion in which it does it, it's going to be a lot of up, down, up, down, up, down oscillation. And if anything, it could be very, very neutral. Now, the thing about October that usually gets people's attention, especially in this marketplace, this whole year you've been seeing yield curve, recession, this, that, yada, yada, yada. This is where some of the biggest shocks have occurred, at least as far as 1970s, 1990s, and all that. So that opportunity is still there. We're going to see, but this is what we were talking about yesterday with what we're looking for things to develop. October 10th, 10 days from now, the next trading week after here, we're going to start hearing about the trade talks. This could have an effect. Some people are saying now's the time to buy volatility. Some people are saying, well, we're going to wait if there's a deal there. We have all of this stuff, so we need to talk about that. So I want to briefly recap what happened today, what we're looking for. The market was very interesting, especially in line with what we talked about yesterday. I want to go over the plays we made today and then talk about our plays for tomorrow. So you guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to be live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, so we better see you there in the morning here on this channel, baby. But you got to do the most important thing, baby. Post your watch list below. Let us know what you're playing. Let us know what you're watching. If you guys have any ideas, feedback, throw it in there. Be positive, respectful. That's all we ask from you guys. So let's get into it. So right off the bat, the thing about today and what happened, you saw something very similar like we talked about. We gapped up and came down. This is what we said with the futures. We opened slightly up and sold off, and surprisingly, it wasn't too big of a move. And this was actually interesting considering had that news of the U.S. saying, or the White House saying, that this China news was not actually something they were considering. So this is where we closed. We came up, we quickly came down to it in the morning, and then we bounced and kind of followed VWAP all the way up here. And now this was when that drop occurred. So you can see how aggressive that looks from that Friday, but now even bringing it back here the last few days, you guys remember we've been talking about this impeachment zone, and well, it's been very, very real today. It barely got above there, that 297.50, we're about like 297.70 there, but this is all still staying with it. So it kind of brings up something interesting. So tomorrow is going to be very, very crucial. Now, I was expecting a down day today. Now, I could be a little too early, but the fact that I'm kind of going to stick to here, if we didn't see the volatility that I was expecting today, or even a slight drop, even though the markets barely moved up, the fact that everything clearly closed up, even though it was very, very low volume, and that could have been because of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish holiday, there was a lack of activity. So again, I could be ahead of myself here, but at the same time, I think we're going to get a chill week. So unless it's acted upon by an equal or opposite, or in this case, a greater force, and that's pretty much going to be more trade tension or more impeachment news that's very negative. We did see the market react a little bit on the news that Rudy Giuliani, Trump's lawyer, got subpoenaed. And then there's also a bunch of other cases now they're talking about. It could even be a new whistleblower with Australia, and talking about some of the other talks that Trump is having. So again, we're going to see how the political tension weighs on it, but it seems like the market kind of might be tuning more of an ear towards the trade and what's going on with China, because we've been seeing that develop. So how that plays out is going to be important. But my keys for tomorrow is watch for volatility to pick up, but also watch for pretty much us to stay around these zones and kind of even a slow melt up. But at the same time, what I want to look at is the yuan at the danger zone. So Mr. Juan, I've told you about Juan, man. Don't forget about what he's been doing. Juan's a sneaky little guy, man. I'm telling you. Take a look. It keeps going up, and that danger zone is 715 on the Chinese yuan. Whenever it's broken past there, it goes higher and higher. But the fact is, we've seen this many, many times before. We've called it out. It's starting to look like this. Anytime right before the trade tensions, when China lets the currency weaken, it's them letting it weaken. You have to understand with that. It is deliberate. It is. China is a country where they will step in. So go get ready for that econ course on the way, baby. On the way. Shout out to Cole. But when this occurs, it is not by accident. Somebody's letting it happen. It's either China's letting it happen or the U.S. is letting it happen. But this is sending a message. So if it starts breaking above here, that will still kind of point towards volatility. It doesn't mean it's going to break out and then the markets come down. But the longer it starts breaking out and weakening, the more that's going to point to. So watch out for that. Also watch out for for the impeachment odds. Those have gone up, and the impeachment zone itself is proving very, very real. So watch tomorrow how it breaks 297. If it breaks it at all, how long does it stay above there? If it comes down, and then if it does on the downside, what does it break past this 293 here? This zone that it's set is key. It's showing kind of both what market and algorithms are pricing in. So keep that in mind as you're watching all of this. But putting that into perspective with things, we saw another reverse repo oversubscribed today. These lending issues are still there. And again, I don't think it's a coincidence that this correlates with the impeachment odds going up. The impeachment odds are at 72% when they were at 60% the first time we saw. So keep your eye out for that. But putting this all in together and what we're expecting, this is credit spread heaven, my friend. If this week is chill, it's a good week to collect premium, and watch for specific industries to rotate. But if you're going to get a bunch of up and back and down and forth in that, and people are still kind of worried with what's going on, premiums are going to be high. And again, if we are too fast this week and we listen too fast and we're like, okay, there's going to be volatility and none happens, boom, you just got a bunch of free premium. And then next week comes around, the trade war, boom, things start to move. Now you could start buying options, and that's what we're waiting for. We talked about this today. You guys know me, especially if you've been watching these. I've talked about it a lot. This is one of my specialties, or what I like looking for is mispriced options. So people say, why trade credit spreads? Why are we doing this? That is the point. I like mispriced options, and if the option prices are too expensive, I'm not going to buy them. I'm going to sell them. So keep that in mind with how we're utilizing different tools at different times, which are these strategies to profit off of what the market's throwing at us, especially this last quarter. And you guys got to understand, today was the last day of the third quarter. We're coming into fourth quarter. This is going to get interesting, but you can't build a house with just one tool, and that's where we're doing this. So call out plays too. You guys were doing awesome today. Yo, shout out everybody who's been really involved with both the credit spread, still posting news, all that. I love you guys. We're about to hit the 1-year anniversary, and this isn't me to say, oh my God, yeah, thank you guys. I love you guys. Oh my gosh. It's so you understand this is game time. What happened around this time last year was crazy. So get your head in the game and be smart and ready to take advantage of it. We got 1,300 eyeballs, or 2,600 eyeballs every morning. Let's do something with it, baby. But all in all, watch those spreads and watch how we can take advantage of these. And then right now, at the very least, earnings is right around the corner. So keep that in mind to a degree. Don't get too ahead of yourself. And again, you could even sell premium on that coming into earnings, but keep that in mind. We have a few companies. I know Pepsi's coming out this week and a few others, so watch out for that. But let us get into the plays. So as far as the plays we made today, we didn't really make any. We made one, and this play is dope, but it sketches me out. It was beyond me. And now why does it sketch me out? For a few reasons. The first reason, it gives me a lot of credit. So I know a lot of people did this, so please watch the credit spread videos. We posted a few this week, even how to do the credit spreads on Robinhood. But this was such a good play because we got a $432 credit, and you see 130 to 135, that's a $500 collateral, or that's the max loss. But if we collect $432, $68 is the max risk. But now why does that sketch me out? Because I've told you guys, when you get a high credit to collateral ratio, that's usually a higher risk. It's like getting a higher yield dividend or someone offering you a high rate of return. This is sketchy for that reason, because it's most likely not going to expire worthless. You got a high credit in this, which is sketching me out, but now it's deep in the money. And now some people have been saying their beyond calls have been getting exercised very easily, and now they don't have a dividend, or earnings is November 15th, I think 2 weeks after this. So we'll see how that plays out. But this was a November 15th 130, 135 spread, credit spread. We sold the 130, bought the 135. So the real risk is we get assigned. Even if you did get assigned, you would just pretty much lose that $60 right off the bat. So we'll see how that plays out. But the case is, if Beyond drops pretty much in the next 2 months or month and a half, if and only if you don't get assigned by then, which is that's what sketches me out, because it's offering such a high credit. The only real risk of this trade is we get assigned, which could lead to a loss. But if the stock's volatile, as we saw with that last time, an assignment could help you out. But if Beyond drops 10%, which isn't that crazy for a stock like Beyond, if it drops 10% in the next month, you will make $400 off that play with a $50 risk. That's an amazing amazing credit spread with a low collateral up front or low risk up front and a high reward. So we'll see how that plays out, but I like it. That's the only play we made today. Other than that, we're watching our other plays, and some of the plays I like now, and this is for you guys. Take a look. Any credit spreads I've done, you can now do these and make more money on them. Like I sold this McDonald's here for $185. It's now worth $214. So you could sell this exact same spread. The difference is if I were you, I would probably go another week because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll this play over if it still stays up here, but you guys can see it, 210, 212, that one went down, and then now the Boeings we were talking about, I'm watching this iron condor, that one's kind of looking and is working in our favor, and we're up on that. I'm going to look to average those Disneys. You could get 25 more, but then the Apple credit spread and Home Depot, those are both down too, and I think that's pretty much it, but my BABA stayed the same, and that's something too, actually. I would say watch that because despite any of the news that came out today, these are going to be the first ones I'm going to be watching still tomorrow. Don't forget these and don't let these slip by. What these Asian stocks do, especially Alibaba, JD, Baidu, those could have big movements. So I'm going to keep my eye out for those. As far as that though, watch the Beyond. I'm going to watch the Apple. Apple absolutely killed it today, but there were some issues with some of the chip makers. And watch Qualcomm. They had this big sell-off. We couldn't confirm what it was. That's kind of sketching me out comparative to some of the other companies. So watch Qualcomm. It's at an interesting level. It even kind of reminds me of Disney in a weird way, but I like what Qualcomm's doing. I think there could be downside, so I might want to sell that. But watch Apple. It's breaking up towards this top again. You could see what the market's doing, but Apple is showing really, really big strikes. So again, I've been saying short it, short it, short it. It's going to keep going against me, but that's why too, if it keeps going higher, I'm going to keep doing what my strategy would be, and I'm just going to keep selling the credit spreads on there. So watch out for Apple though. Watch out for Qualcomm. Watch Boeing too now because it's now making these moves. It's either going to start dropping and fall below here. I know there was a series of bad news on it, or it could just keep bouncing up and down between there. So watch out for that. We're holding that play. Then Walmart. I wanted to make a play on this on the credit spread today, but I didn't. I hesitated. It offers a low credit. I think it's like $40 for every $100 of collateral, so it's like a 40% credit to collateral ratio, but I hesitated on it, but I kind of like where it's at. I just didn't want to tie up the collateral for only $40. I'd rather get something higher. Like if you guys have seen most of the credit spreads, I'm tying up that collateral for a couple $100 of credit instead of doing it for 40, 50, kind of like I got killed with the Disney. So we'll see though, but I like Walmart. If it does start to go down, that's what I'm saying, watch out for the rotation. Then Bank of America, they were up a lot today and they sold off really, really hard and then cucked, but something's going on with the banks. Where they're at is, I think, very, very important. It's cucking at this level. You can see this is a really, really key equilibrium level here for the last 3 months. So what they do from here, it's probably either going to keep staying here, and again, that could be good for credit spreads, or it's going to break out and make a move. So watch out for that. Moving on in that same note, we'll come back to Anthem, but watch TLT because they had an interesting day today. And again, I'm even thinking maybe even an iron condor on them could be good. But now here's the thing to watch out for. You're getting something happening. The market went up today. So did TLT. This should stand out to you guys. Watch what it's doing in the fact that it's consolidating and holding up, whereas some of the commodities have been dropping. So don't forget about bonds and don't forget about all that other stuff that we got there. So keep your eye out for that. Keep your eye for TLT, the banks. But again, back now to Anthem, they rotated. And this is what I meant by watch rotations. Some companies and some stocks are going to go up. They went up a full percentage point. This was a massive rip. So I like what they're doing there, but I'm still looking towards the downside. I might use this as an opportunity to sell more credit spreads there. Watch Amazon. They were crazy this morning because they had a big drop down and a big move up. So again, even if you caught this from bottom to top, it was only $25 move from bottom to top, but you got pretty much a bulk of it right there. It was just nuts kind of how they opened. And the fact is, Amazon is selling off. I mean, this was very, very low, and it's testing that June low. It's broken below the August low. It's kind of weird to see that. I mean, you haven't seen people buying Amazon, which is kind of sticking out. And again, why I'm going after some of those companies like Apple, because I think if Amazon starts to rotate and people start rotating into Amazon, they're going to rotate out of Apple. But watch that. Watch Visa. They had a crazy move at this. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was earnings or anything like that or guidance. We'll have to double check, but keep an eye out for that and some of the other ones, even MasterCard as well. And I know PayPal had positive China news and that started moving up a little bit, so maybe it's something with that, but I thought that was interesting. Keep a small eye on that. And then lastly, UVXY. These are cheap. They're getting really, really cheap. The contracts capitulated already for those October 18th. Those were down, worthless, came back up, and now they're worthless all over again. Or they at least lost a lot of their value. But watch out for this, because even if you pull this out on the 1 year, I don't want to say it's going to be just like last year, but that's kind of something we saw here, just in different increments, where, again, we had the big volatility in 2018. It lasts through March, but we did, instead of having our moves happened end of July. It happened end of June. More volatility. Market came back down, a little pop in August, and then it started to capitulate and started to run up right there at the beginning of October. So it's kind of looking a little similar, but our volatility bout lasted a little bit more here. So maybe it does get pushed back. It would be surprising, or there would have to be really, really negative news for volatility to spike up again. But it's getting cheaper, and that's why some people are saying volatility could be the play. We'll watch out for it. If something does break out, that could be the move. If not, don't get too caught up trying to chase those. So there's that. Then, like we said, watch Alibaba, those stocks, but now to Roku. This thing's barely holding up above 101, and this would have been good for some credit spreads comparing it to last Friday and whatnot. You guys see how it's hanging out at the bottom there. The values are holding up, so this one maybe tomorrow or come Thursday, this might be our weekly play to sell premium on. But again, if it breaks below 99, 97, I want to look for that to sell puts on it. Or if it does start to go up, maybe we even sell calls. Or again, maybe if it does start to bounce from here. But this is going to be a good play. I want to see what Roku does. With that in mind too, I want to see what happens to Netflix. That's why we're keeping an eye on Disney. And then I think Mark Cuban said that there isn't really a streaming war today, and they had a little gap up there with high volume there at the end. And they're still even slightly up after hours, so watch them in the morning. I think that could be decent. Again, Disney too, where they're at, they're still cucking. I'm about like 50 cents below that strike, so I need them to make a little bit move up. But again, I'm down on those contracts, so those could be some good ones to either average down on, or you could look at it. Watch Shopify. Our spreads are down. They made a big move. I am considering selling calls on it, but I have that spread, so I don't want to be hedged too bearish on it, but we'll see. But I think Shop could be gearing up for some plays. If not, hopefully Beyond makes a move. Then AMD, they had some good credit collateral plays, and just even where they're at. Again, watching Qualcomm, any of these other chip makers, they're at an interesting spot, so watch how they play out. And I know we have a few eyes. And then again, Baba, Baidu, JD, all those, I think those are very, very interested, and they're still kind of holding this trend even with where the yuan's at. So that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Post your watch list. Let me know how you guys are doing. Stay hydrated, healthy, happy, be respectful, be positive. Go read your Bible, get your head in the game, and be smart, you guys. Doesn't matter if you made money, lost money, you're gonna learn something. You need to get your head in the game. I'm telling you, this is why we got the strategies, the credit spreads. It is the final quarter of 2019. Let's make it a good one. You walk away making the right moves with whatever throws out or gets thrown out at us. It's going to be epic, and we can make the best of it. So keep your mindset in the right place and your mind in the right place, and make sure you're in the cult so you're in the right place, literally. So let's go!